Hi everyone, welcome to podFLOW 1. My name is Nafisa and we're going to start standing today. So please come to the top of your mats and step your feet hip width distance. And you're nice and wide, widen your feet a little bit. Yeah, take a moment, maybe shrug your shoulders up into your ears. You can roll the neck out a little bit. It's beginning to get comfortable and take residence in your body. And then as you begin to still those movements a little bit, feel the grounding in your feet, all four corners. You might even rock the weight around a little bit to get nice and settled. And then from here, we'll bring the arms down to the side and close the eyes. And as you close your eyes, we begin to cultivate more of an internal gaze and an internal focus. Begin to find your natural breathing pattern. Just notice your breath. You don't have to try to control it or anything. Just begin to feel it, your body's natural rhythm. We begin every yoga practice with breathing first, really the foundation of the practice, and an integral part that we will thread consistently throughout the class. We're going to begin together with a focused breathing exercise. So let's all begin by exhaling all the breath from our lungs. And as you do this, feel the root down into your feet, legs engaged, and a gentle tone to your belly. On your inhale, slowly begin to bring your arms out to the side and all the way overhead. As you come to the top of your inhale, touch your palms together, and then exhale, hands down through your heart. From there, release your hands down by your side at the bottom of your exhale and slowly begin again. Inhale. Filling the lungs all the way to the top. Feel a pause as the palms touch. And then exhale, hands down through heart center as you empty your lungs. Bottom of the breath, release your hands by your side and begin again. Inhale. And touching palms overhead, top of the breath. And exhale, hands down through heart. Now you'll continue this at your own pace so you can really step into your natural rhythm. And as you're breathing here, notice the tendency to perhaps speed up the breath as the movement and pattern gets a little more familiar. But instead, see if you can slow each breath down a little bit slower, a little bit longer breath than the one before it. And eyes can be open or closed here, whatever you're comfortable with. But a soft gaze if eyes are open. Holding on to that sense of internal focus. And we begin with this gentle moving meditation through the fluctuations of our breath. Nice work, everybody. And you'll finish the exhale you're on. And take one more breath. As your arms reach overhead, join your palms to touch. And this time on the exhale, as hands come through heart, soften your knees and we'll come into a gentle forward fold. Hands come down to the mat. And take a moment to reorient here. You bend your knees a little or a lot. And pedal out the feet a little bit. Just getting comfortable here. Shake out the head, shake out the neck. And a sense of grounding through your feet again. So again, that might be a little bit of movement forward and back till you feel the four corners of your feet rooting evenly into the mat. This is big toe to outer heel, pinky toe to inner heel. And find a deep tone to your low belly. It's going to support your low back in this position. You can bring the pinkies into the elbow creases and rock side to side if you like, or you can keep the hands grounded on the mat. Good. Now from here, we're going to begin with a gentle twist. Everyone, bring your hands down to the mat. We'll start by placing the left hand just below your face here, and you have a block there. If you want to use that, you can place it underneath your hand for a little bit more support as well. Take your right hand to your low back, and on your inhale, lean slightly forward. You're going to press into your hand, and on an exhale, slowly begin to turn towards your right. Now from there, you can begin to reach your right arm to the sky. And you can also begin to soften your left knee a little bit and straighten your right leg a little bit more. Any of these variations are welcome, whatever's going to feel good in your body. Give a lengthening on the inhale breath And on the exhale, that gentle press into the fingertips to facilitate a turn. Nice, Laura, beautiful. Good, one more deep breath in and out. And then bottom of the exhale, bring your right hand back to the floor or to your block. And we'll switch sides. Take your left hand to your low back to start. And for a moment, we want to find the length in the spine. So inhale, almost a lean forward to find the length. And then exhale, begin to turn towards your left, pressing right hand into floor or block. And from there, you can either keep your hand on the hip or you can reach your left arm to the sky. And then bending the right knee, straightening the left leg a little bit more. Try to keep the weight bearing fairly even in your feet as you do this. Press my hand a little bit. Yeah. And again, finding every inhale to lengthen your spine and every exhale to ground and turn. One more deep breath in and out. And then bottom of the exhale, release your left hand down and fold over your legs. Toe heel your feet to touch, so big toes touch and heels are slightly apart. On an inhale, come to a halfway lift, hands to shins or thighs for this first one. Press into the shins to find the length in the spine, elbows drawn softly towards your side bodies. Knees are soft and legs are strong. Take a deep breath and exhale, fold. Now inhale again to a half lift. This time you're going to bend your knees, plant your hands, and exhale, step back to plank position. So plank is like the top of a push-up here. Your feet are hip-width distance, pressing back through your heels. Feel a lift in your thighs, your quads are strong. Hands are outer shoulder width and the fingers are spread. You want to press down as you hug the forearms in towards each other. Gaze is slightly forward so your neck extends natural from your spine. And most importantly, find that deep tone in your low belly here. This is going to help to connect the upper body, the torso, to the lower body. And make sure you're breathing. Now gaze is slightly forward. As you inhale, lean slightly forward. And on an exhale, slowly lower all the way to the mat, either in your plank pose or coming to knees first. Nice, Keith, in that transition. Good. Once on your bellies, flip tops of the feet over to the mat and really press them down so much your legs are going to engage. You might even feel your kneecaps lift. On an inhale breath, cobra pose, Bhujangasana. Pull your heart forward and up with little to no weight in the hands. And exhale back to the mat. So first few, we're moving with the breath. Again, inhale, cobra pose. As your lungs inflate, we lift away from the mat and exhale back to the mat. Now one more round, inhale, cobra pose. This time stay lifted. On your exhale, reignite your legs. Now you can even press into the hands a little bit. Use your arms, think length before height as you lift yourself up, reaching through the crown of the head. One more deep breath in and exhale back to the mat. Good. From here, press to your knees on an inhale. Turn your toes under and exhale, press back, downward facing dog. And pausing in your first downward facing dog. Again, hands are wide, fingers are spread. We're grounding through the lower knuckles of the hands. Think about where your fingers meet your palms, and in particular, index knuckle, thumb knuckle, and even in the pinky. Upper arm bones spiral gently towards the front of the room, so keeping softness in the elbows will help enhance that, and allow the heart to melt. Try a little softening in your knees. See if you can get your lower belly closer to the top of your thighs here, spreading through the sits bones, and re-engaging the legs, but keeping that softness in your knees. Now from here, inhale, lift your heels, and on your exhale, come back to your knees, and you'll just sit back for a moment. I'm going to do a little demonstration. As we come to those transitions again, lowering down to the mat, you always have the option to take cobra like we did, but we also have the option to take chaturanga into upward facing dog. So I'll demonstrate what that looks like. So starting from our plank position, keeping a long spine, legs are strong, and again, the gaze is slightly forward. We take a deep breath, leaning slightly forward, and on the exhale, we come part way down. So the elbows are going to hug into the side bodies, and we want to be mindful that the shoulders do not dip below the elbows. They might be even, or they might even be slightly above. From here on an inhale, flipping over the tops of the feet and lifting through the heart, reaching through the crown of the head. Head of the arm bones are back, thighs are lifting away from the mat, legs are so strong and engaged. This is upward facing dog, deep breath, and on an exhale, we flip over the toes and back to downward facing dog. Now, if you want to try that, but that's a little bit too challenging, you can also come down to the knees first, lower part way, and make your way into upward facing dog, and back to down dog. And again, you always have the option to lower all the way down like we did before and take cobra. All right, let's come back to downward facing dog. All right, feeling your breath, always coming back to the breath. And downward dog will always give us that opportunity to redefine the breath as we re-engage and find foundation. Now together, exhale all the breath from the lungs. Good. On your inhale, reach your right leg back and pause for a moment. Now think of more of the length of your leg as opposed to the height. Draw your left hip back just a touch. That's it, Alex. Good. So the hips are nice and level and plug equally into your hands. Take a deep breath in. And on your exhale, draw knee towards your navel, press into the hands, look forward, step forward to lunge position. Good. Now right foot steps just inside of your fingertips here. You can tint up on your fingertips, even lift your back heel a little bit, and that'll give you a little more opportunity to organize the hips some more. So the right hip's gonna draw back, that's it. And the left hip lifts up a little bit. Now plugging into the feet, exhale all the breath from your lungs. We want to keep that scissoring of the thighs, and on an inhale, slowly begin to straighten through your front leg. Folding over the front leg. If the floor feels far away here, you can utilize your block here, placing block underneath the hands, either behind the ankle or in front of the foot, whatever feels good for you. Back heel is lifted, and this will help us keep that symmetry and balance in the hips. Folding over the front leg and plugging into your hands here. Low belly drawing in and up. Good. Hips look great in here, everybody. Exhale all the breath from your lungs. Take one more deep breath. And then exhale, come back to lunge position. Bend your front knee, gaze slightly forward. Step your left foot forward to meet your right. Inhale, halfway lift at the top of your mat. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise to stand, Ardha, upward salute, arms reaching to the sky. Spin the baby fingers in, shoulder blades down your back. Plugging into your feet, you might even lift up all 10 toes, spread them out and place them back down to get the arches activated. Your thighs are pressing back, legs engaged. And once again, we find that same pattern, low belly drawing in and up, so tailbone is anchoring down. Keep the shoulders soft even as you reach. Take a nice deep breath in, and on your exhale, left arm down, right arm up and over for a side bend. Now your left hand can just come down the side leg. You can even put it on your hip there for a little bit more support, or even to encourage a little bit more depth. Plug into your right foot. That'll help you stay lengthening through the right without collapsing into the left side body. And the shoulders are square to the mirror. Inhale, left arm comes up to meet the right. And exhale, right arm down, left arm up and over. Again, soft through the left shoulder. You're reaching through your left fingers as you ground down through your left foot. And there can almost even be a slight bend in the elbow here to find more reach. Good. Inhale, right arm up to meet the left. Exhale, forward fold. That can be a swan dive or hands through heart, your choice of expression. Release head and neck. Inhale, half lift. Bend the knees, plant the hands, exhale, step back plank. And here's that transition opportunity. Inhale in slightly forward, and your choice. Exhale, lower partway chaturanga or all the way to the earth. Inhale is upward facing dog or cobra pose. Exhale, downward facing dog. A few deep breaths, letting that settle in. Again, within our downward facing dog, we feel the strength and the effort that's needed for this pose. We also want to feel the softness. So elbows, shoulders, knees, all around the joint area is always a great place to focus on finding some softness. Again, a collective exhale, empty lungs. Inhale your left leg back. And pause here. As soon as the left leg leaves the earth, the body tries to compensate a little bit. There we go. So hug the elbows in. Reach back through the right leg. Take a deep breath. And on your exhale, draw knee towards navel. Press down into your hands. Look forward. Step forward to lunge. Left foot now inside of left fingertips. This enables a hip-width distance stance. And again, notice if the hips are kind of sunk down a little bit, lift up a little bit. That's going to give you a little more ability. Perfect, Eldora, to pull your left hip back and right hip forward so they're nice and level. Exhale completely, ground into the feet. And slow inhale, begin to straighten through your left leg, folding over the front leg. And again, the block can come in to help you and support you if the floor feels a little bit far away. Back heel lifting, helping to kind of steer the hips into level. And think more like you're pressing into your left foot rather than stepping into it. Breathing down the back line of your body, back down line of your legs. Let's exhale all the breath. And together again, a deep breath here. And exhale back to lunge. Bend your front knee. Step your right foot to your left. Inhale, halfway lift, top of your mat. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise to stand, Ardha, arms sweep to the sky. Again, we'll pause here on the exhale, shoulder blades down the back, pressing into your feet, engaging legs, engaging belly. Take a deep breath in. This time, exhale, right arm down, left arm up and over. And we'll pause here again and breathe. Now, as you breathe, imagine inflating through the left side body, all the way into the connective tissue of the rib cage. And the exhales, we're grounding down. Feel your feet rooted into the earth. Inhale, right arm up. And exhale, left arm down, right arm up and over. So finding the places of engagement, of strength, and the places of softness as well. Through shoulders, through gaze even. Inhale, left arm up to meet the right. Exhale, forward fold. Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift. Bend the knees, plant the hands. Exhale, step back, plank. Stay for an inhale, feel the length. And your choice, exhale, lower part way or to the earth. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. A few deep breaths. Now you always have the option too to skip those transitions, go straight from plank position back to downward facing dog. You want to listen to your body at each point of transition and decide what's going to be best for you. Now we're going to flow through that short progression here, breath to movement, build a little heat in the body. So let's begin by exhaling all the breath from the lungs. We'll start with a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Inhale your right leg back. Exhale, step through lunge. Inhale, straighten the front leg, modified pyramid. Exhale, back to lunge. Inhale, step left foot to right, half lift, top of the mat. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise to stand, upward salute. And exhale, left arm down, right arm up and over. Inhale, left arm up. Exhale, right arm down. Beautiful breathing, you guys. Inhale, right arm up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step to plank. Stay for the inhale. Exhale, lower. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. We're going to keep moving. So left leg, inhale, reach it back. Exhale, step to lunge. Inhale, straighten your front leg. Exhale, back to lunge. Inhale, right foot meets the left, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise to stand, arms sweeping to the sky. Right arm down as you exhale to the right. Inhale, right arm up. And exhale, left arm down, bending to the left. Inhale, left arm up to meet the right, and exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plank. Stay for the inhale, lean slightly forward. And exhale, your choice, lower or always option straight to down dog. Nice, Keith, good. Inhale, opens the heart, up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog, a few breaths here. You also have the option in between progressions to take child's pose. If you feel like you need more of a rest, you need to find your breath here. All right, let's take an exhale breath together, empty the lungs. Next inhale, lift your heels, hips high, and as you exhale, bend your knees, gaze forward, step or hop to the top of your mat. Inhale, half lift as you arrive. Exhale, forward fold. Bend your knees, sit your hips, and inhale, Utkatasana, chair pose. Now, arms are going to sweep up by the ears again, shoulder blades down the back. This time we want to imagine sitting a little bit more weight back towards the heels. We'll still keep the weight bearing as balanced in the four corners as possible. We just want to resist tipping forward. So as you sit down and back, kind of tug your knees back as well. And see if you can sit your hips just a little bit lower, finding the challenge here, warming up the legs. Keep that same tone in your low belly here. It's going to support the natural curve, the natural contour of your low back. And even within this intensity and challenge, where can you soften? Let's take one more deep breath together. On the exhale, airplane torso, arms sweep back. So a little flying Utkatasana. Palms face down, chest is bright, and the gaze is just a few feet in front of you. Perhaps you can sit your hips just a little bit lower here. Tone your belly a little bit more. Focus your gaze. Focus your breath. Exhale, sit a little bit lower, last little bit. And inhale back to Utkatasana chair. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step to plank. Stay for an inhale breath. And exhale, lower or straight to down dog. Inhale, up dog or cobra pose. Exhale, downward facing dog. Yeah. Next, inhale, reach your right leg back. Exhale, step your foot in between your hands. Spin your back heel down, coming up to warrior two. On an inhale, left arm is going to sweep you up. You might even straighten the front leg a little bit to start. And then we'll bend into the front knee. And you can do that a few times as we orient the body in this new position with an open hip pose. So your front knee is tracking directly towards the front mirror and almost a little airing towards, turning towards your baby toe side. So we get this external rotation now in the front femur bone. Your back leg is strong, the thigh bone presses back, and the hips are level to the earth here. As we reach forward and back, we want to reach equally, fingertip to fingertip, and keeping the shoulders soft. Gaze is forward over the front fingertips towards the mirror. And deepen a little bit more into the front knee so it's right over the ankle, that's it. Feeling your strength in this warrior pose, feeling the balance as that's going to shift a little bit in these next two poses. So let's begin with an exhale breath, deepen into the lunge, and then flip your front palm, inhale, reverse warrior. So we come back into some opening in the side body here. Keep your front knee right over the ankle. In fact, sometimes we have to bend in a little bit more as the body tends to follow the eyes and wants to lift. Breathing into your right side body, gaze where it feels best for you. Keep your right shoulder soft. Take one more deep breath, and exhale, extended side angle. Right forearm to thigh. Left arm comes up and over your ear. Good, and now we feel more of that weight in the front legs. We really want to engage and strengthen the back leg. You're pressing your left thigh bone back and grounding into the four corners of your left foot. Now we get this beautiful extension down the left side body with the arm, and now we can engage a little bit more mobility. So think of pressing into your right forearm as you inhale, telescoping the ribs a little. Exhale, we turn towards the sky. Good, keep your low belly, low ribs knit in, that's it. And kind of puff up to the back body. And we find balance there as well. Beautiful, finding your breath here. As the pose starts to build a little heat, where we want to engage that challenge, and that's where your breath becomes super integral. We breathe first in the beginning so that we can find it here, even in these challenging, more demanding poses. Exhale all the breath from your lungs. Inhale, five-pointed star, straighten through your front leg, and then parallel off your feet. So the toes turn slightly in here, outer feet are parallel. All right, take a nice deep, full breath, and on the exhale, soften your knees and hinge at the hips. Prasari to forward fold. Hands come to the earth. This first one, relax head and neck, and pause for a moment. Take a little half lift on your inhale. You can redefine the length in the spine, the weight bearing in the feet, and exhale, fold. You can walk the fingertips back in line with toes or heels, or you can grab your outer feet or big toes. Whatever's working for you. When we come back to the breath and the natural energetics of the breath, on the inhales, we're looking for length. Almost like you're taking a cobra pose here. And on the exhales, grounding that length through the positioning, the connection of your hands either to floor or to your feet. Exhale all the breath from your lungs. Release any grip you have. Inhale, half lift. Pivot low lunge to the front as you exhale. Step to high plank. Inhale, breath. Exhale, lower. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. Legs strong. Exhale, downward facing dog. And nice deep breaths. Just feeling the residue of the pose. And all of the poses. And we'll try that last piece on the other side. So exhale all the breath. Inhale your left leg back. Exhale, step your left foot in between your hands. This time, right foot spins down, and we inhale warrior two, right arm reaching up. Front leg can straighten a little bit as you come up, and then exhale, deepen in. And again, you might take a few pulses here. Just kind of feeling yourself in space and getting grounded. The arms are going to be at a T. Left fingertips reaching forward, right fingertips reaching back. And again, we want to dial the front knee directly forward and even slightly to the left. Right thighs pressing back and four corners of your right foot rooted evenly into the floor. So although we're opening towards this side wall, we're looking more for level hips. They don't have to be square. And again, within all this engagement, can you soften in the shoulders a little bit? Think of reaching through the crown of the head on the inhales and grounding through the feet, reaching, extending on the exhales. Turn your gaze over the left fingertips, exhale your breath, and inhale, reverse, lift the palm, left arm lifts up. Stay true to the front knee, and you might just even bend it a little bit more so we don't collapse back into the back leg. And then lifting to lengthen not just the left side body, but we get into this frontal hip too. Beautiful, Eldora. One more deep breath in. Exhale, extended side angle. Left forearm to thigh, and right arm reaches up and over the ear. And if you'd rather take your left hand to floor block, that works as well. Just make sure you have contact. Strong foundation here. Now right thigh is pressing back, leg is super strong. Really ground through the four corners of your foot. And we work from this lengthening here on the inhales, find that breath to lengthen. And on the exhale, use the left forearm to press rather than lean, to turn yourself towards the sky. Every breath finds that length. Every exhale, that gentle turn. And keeping low belly, low ribs knit in. So keep a tone to the torso as we turn. We're isolating the area that is most mobile in the spine to access that rotation. And it's subtle, and the gaze up is going to help facilitate that as well. Notice if you're kind of collapsing into the thigh, can you press and keep the integrity and length in your left side? Gorgeous, Laura, good. Finding your breath here as it begins to build in the heat. We'll exhale completely. And inhale, come on up, 5 pointed star. Good, so once again, we'll parallel the feet, turn the front toes in to meet the back. And this time, exhale, hands behind the back, interlace. As you inhale, lift your heart and keep your low ribs in, head of the arm bones back. And on the exhale, soften knees, hinge at the hips and fold. Low prasari to C, or wide-legged forward fold with chest expansion. Take a moment, you can shake out the head and neck a little bit. You can even bend one knee and the other. Whatever feels good. It's kind of working out any tension in the shoulders. I'm looking for the optimum opening in this fold. Good. That's it, Keith. Yeah. Knees are soft, but legs are strong here, and weights bearing equal in the four corners of your feet. Take one more breath, and then by way of low back, exhale, release hands to the mat. Inhale to half lift, long spine. Exhale, pivot lunge to the front of the mat. Inhale, plank. Exhale, lower or straight to down dog, always an option. Inhale, opens your heart, up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Nice work, everybody. So once again, we're going to take that progression that we just built, and we're going to move it breath to movement. Really, the spirit of vinyasa is finding that connection here. Trust that your body has the map of the poses, so we get to free up a little bit and really make it about this moving meditation. Let's take a collective exhale, empty the lungs. Once again, we'll start with a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. All right, inhale, lift your heels, hips high. Exhale, bend your knees, gaze forward, step or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees, inhale, Utkatasana, chair pose. Exhale, arms sweep back, airplane torso. Inhale, back to chair. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plank. Stay for an inhale breath. And exhale, lower chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg, reach it back. Exhale, step foot between your hands. Inhale, come up, warrior two, back heel spins down. We'll stay here for the exhale, deepen into the front knee. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, extended side angle. Inhale, 5-pointed star, come up, square your feet, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, pivot to lunge. Inhale, plank. Exhale, lower. Inhale, opens the heart. Exhale, downward facing dog. Left leg, inhale, reach it back. Exhale, step it through. Warrior two, inhale, right arm leads the way. Stay and deepen in on the exhale. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Exhale, extended side angle. Inhale, 5-pointed star. Parallel the feet. And exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, pivot forward to lunge. Inhale, step to plank. Exhale, lower or down dog. Beautiful. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. We'll take about 5 breaths here. Again, you have the option for child's pose if you need a little bit more break, or grounding. And let's do what feels best in your body. Always coming back to the breath, the most essential factor of the practice. And down dog gives us that opportunity to integrate and ground the energy that we build in each progression. Always taking long, deep breaths, and you can always exhale out through the mouth too if you feel like you're building a little bit extra heat. Yeah, that's it. All right, setting up for the next progression. If you're not in downward facing dog, please make your way there. Take a deep breath together. And this time on your exhale, walk your hands back to your feet. So you're at the back of your mat in Uttanasana, forward fold. Toe heel your feet to touch. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise to stand. Ardha Hastasana, arms sweep to the sky. And exhale, hands to heart center. And now setting up for a tree pose, we're going to start by standing in our right leg. So you're going to bend your left knee and turn the toes out a little bit. Bring your hands to your hips. Oh. And then from here, we're going to take our left ankle and draw it up your foot towards your inner thigh. Press your foot into your thigh and bring your hands to heart center. Now, if the foot does not reach the thigh, you can also take it to the calf, or you can even use your toes as a kickstand here. We want to really make contact, pressing foot into thigh, simultaneously pressing your thigh back into your foot. Now hands are to heart, shoulder blades are down the back, and the focus is one point. Steady in your standing leg. It's strong and active, but we want to make sure it's not rigid, and that helps us to navigate the feedback we're receiving as we balance through the foot. You can stay right here. This might be plenty. And keeping a deep tone in the belly, if you want to extend your arms overhead and grow some branches with your tree, you can do that as well. Baby fingers spin in, shoulder blades down the back. If you want more challenge from there, you can start to lift your gaze up towards the sky. And it's okay to feel a little wobbly here. Just keep grounding in, we keep breathing. And keeping that consistent contact, foot pressing thigh, thigh pressing back into the foot. Staying with your breath here. If your hands are overhead, we're going to bring them back to heart center to start. Take a deep breath. On the exhale, release your right knee or your left knee forward, hips are level, and then place your feet back on the earth together. Good. Nice focus, you guys. Let's take the other side. So hands to your hips, ground into your left leg, strong and steady, and then turn your right knee out and start to lift the foot. You'll take your ankle, and again, you can find contact with inner thigh, shin, or kickstand to the floor. Be very aware not to cross the knee joint. We don't want to put any pressure there. Now, once you feel stable there, drawing low belly in, hands can come to heart. Draw your right knee slightly back as you pull your belly in, tailbone long, and feel that strength again in your left leg, but a softness around the knee. We're extending up through the crown of the head, focusing one point, shoulder blades down the back. It can be helpful to press the palms a little bit, creating kind of a container of the body for balance. Stay here, or if you did so on the other side, you can grow some branches to your tree. Baby fingers spinning in, staying consistent with the roots of your pose, pressing foot into thigh, thigh into foot, and feeling the grounding of your standing foot, all 4 corners. For more challenge, we lift the gaze a little bit. And finding your breath here, let's hear that breath. And for those of you that have the arms overhead, bring your hands back to heart first, press them together. Deep breath in, everyone. Let's release the knee forward, square the hips, and then feet together. Good. With both feet rooted, release the hands down and inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. And exhale, fold. Step your feet hip width distance. Grab onto your big toes with middle and index fingers. Padangusthasana. Big toes forward fold. As you inhale, think half lift, a little tug of the toes. And on your exhale, fold and keep that tug of the toes. A little bit of traction. Ground down through the big toes right where you have this grip. And the elbows bending out to the side as you deepen in. Head is heavy, low belly draws in. And opening up the upper back here and lengthening the spine as we get this nice opening through the hamstrings. Weight is slightly forward, and those of you that the legs are straightened, be sure to tone your thighs, supporting your hamstrings. We'll take one more deep breath in and out. Good. And the bottom of the exhale, release your toes and walk your hands back to downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your heels and ripple forward to a plank position. Pausing in plank, we're going to come down to forearm plank. So we'll drop one forearm and then the other, getting into some core integration. Now, if at any point you want to come to your knees, you absolutely can. We're here for a whole minute. So we're really going to build some integrity in this position and some stamina. So you're pressing through your heels, lifting up through your thighs, engaging the same actions as we would in plank. Low belly draws in and up. So we're somewhat tilting our tailbone towards our heels and our pubic bone towards our sternum. Forearms press down, shoulder blades down the back. We want to be aware of the gaze slightly forward here so we never collapse the neck. We want to keep a nice extension through the crown of the head as we balance that by pressing back through the heels. If it's too much on the shoulders, you can also clasp the hands and create more of a triad effect here. Hips should be in line with your shoulders, so be aware if they get too high, it'll be a little more shoulder-centric, and if it gets too low, a little bit too much pressure in the low back. So we want to find that balance. We're almost here, you guys, almost to that full minute. Finding your focus, finding your breath for last 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring your hips down. Nice job, you guys. Good. Flip the tops of the feet to the mat, even reaching back a little bit. Glue them down, legs engaged. Sphinx pose. You might need to bring your elbows slightly forward, but they should be right underneath your elbows. This time it's like you're going to pull your forearms back towards you as you pull your heart forward towards the mirror. Head of the arm bones back, reaching through the crown of the head. You can also turn the gaze, nod the head, working the neck a little bit, whatever feels good. Make sure you balance one side to the other. And all the while, keeping your chest lifting. Shoulder blades down the back. Let's come back to center. If you're not, take one more deep breath. And then exhale, release. Hands come underneath the shoulders. Turn your toes under. You can press up through plank or knees, making your way back to downward facing dog. Excuse me. Our final standing progression here, where we'll find our peak pose at the end of this one as well. So dig in deep, coming back to your breath. Let's begin by exhaling all the breath from the lungs. Inhale, right leg back. Exhale, step to lunge. This time we're coming into warrior 1. So spin your back heel down, so toes point about 10 or 11 on a clock. And inhale, arms up to the sky. And we use the arms to lift up initially, but let's take a moment to fine tune the base, coming back to more of that lunge pattern we were working in earlier. Take your hands to your hips, and then using your right thumb, you can hook it into the hip crease to draw it back. Your outer foot's all 4 corners rooted to the earth, and we're turning this left hip forward. Draw your low belly in and up, and then we'll take first our left arm up to the sky. Draw your shoulder blade down your back, so you're kind of hollowing out your armpit, and then take your right arm up as well. Now the baby fingers mimic the mountain pose arms, or the upward salute arms with the baby fingers spinning slightly in. Shoulder blades down the back. Really root into your back foot, all 4 corners. So again, we find that strength. Draw your low belly, low ribs in, and keeping that contact, maybe you can deepen into the front knee just a touch more. That's it. Soft through the shoulders, but reaching long through the fingertips. Feel the squeeze of the inner line of the legs, that scissoring effect that's going to stabilize us for this next pose. Deep breath in. Exhale, hands behind the back, interlace. Inhale, lift your heart, low ribs in, and slowly exhale, come forward into humble warrior. You can do that in one exhale, or you can take a couple breaths to get there. That's it, Laura, taking your time as needed. Now we continue to draw the right hip back, left hip forward, holding onto that same patterning in the legs. Low belly draws in and up, and essentially steering yourself forward towards the mirror. That's it, good. Keep grounding through the back foot. It's going to help to stabilize. And front knee is right over your ankle. Yeah. Let's take one more deep breath here. And then exhale by way of your low back. Release hands, skim the earth. Rise back to warrior one. Inhale, arms up. From here, straighten your front leg and bring your hands to your hips. You may need a slightly shorter stance. We're coming into pyramid pose. Toes are still turned forward as they were in warrior one. Now deep breath in, lift through your heart. And on the exhale, hinge at your hips to fold over your front leg. Now as you get closer to the earth, the hands can come down. Think of reaching sternum towards your toes to keep the length of the spine, but you can also relax your head and neck. Again, your block, intuitively some of you are using that, can come in handy to bring the floor a little bit closer to you, so that again, we're not getting the sense of reaching for the earth, but we can literally press into it. Grounded through the back foot, the right hip's drawing back in that same pattern as the warrior one stance. Good. Finding your breath here. Now exhale all the breath. And everyone inhale, little half lift first. Exhale, hands back to your hips. Inhale, long spine brings you to stand. From here, lift your front toes, turn them towards me, so we're facing the windows. And then widen your stance, turn your toes out, heels in. Inhale, arms sweep to the sky, join your palms. Exhale, hands to heart for horse. And getting back into that open hip pattern. You can shift side to side a little bit. Just kind of feeling your way in. And we're gonna stay here for a little bit longer hold. So toes are soft. We still wanna root down through the four corners of the feet. Low belly is drawing in and up, creating that anchoring of the tail, and the shoulders are right over the hips. I'm pressing the palms here. We'll sit a little bit lower if that's available, and sometimes just as we marinate in this pose, you'll be able to go a little bit deeper. Let's try to work that with the breath here. So release your arms down and inhale, arms sweep overhead. Join the palms. Exhale, hands to heart. Maybe you sit a little bit lower in your descent. Good. Again, inhale slowly, arms up. And exhale, hands to heart. Let's do that one more time. Inhale. Join the palms and exhale, hands to heart. This time find your depth, find your edge for 5. Finding your breath for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Inhale, 5-pointed star, come on up. Good, bring your arms to a T shape. Lift your left toes, turn them towards me, towards the windows, and turn your right toes forward. Setting up for triangle pose, Trikonasana. Inhale, reach your right arm to the sky, lengthen through the side body. And on your exhale, hinge at your hip and reach forward. Left hand can be on your hip too as you reach forward. And then hand to shin, block, or floor. And most of us are probably going to find the hand on the shin or on a block. You can utilize that for a little bit more support. Now we're opening the hips here towards the windows. And standing strong in this front right leg, we want to make sure the knee is not locked. So a little micro bend will enable you to turn your right hip underneath you a little bit more. Peeling the left hip open as we reach through the left fingertips, really taking up space. So utilize the right hand to shin or block to create a little of that steering effect we did in our extended side angle earlier. Now most importantly, we really want to get the body stacked in this one plane, from the feet up, the feet, knees, hips, and shoulders. We're going to take this patterning into our peak pose of half moon Ardha Chandrasana. So take a deep breath in, and on your exhale, left hand to your hip. Turn your gaze down, bend your right knee. You can utilize your block here. Hand's going to come to floor or block, step into the right leg, and lift your left leg away from the mat. Now as soon as your left leg lifts, you want to press the four corners of your foot into the wall behind you. The block is about a foot in front of you, maybe 6 inches to the right, so it's directly under your shoulder. Right leg is strong, active, but not locked. And then the left arm can reach up if you're feeling comfortable with that, towards the sky. The inhales, we're utilizing that same effect of lengthening, and the exhales, grounding, that little turning effect towards the sky. Eventually, you might even turn your gaze up for more challenge. Think of taking up space here. Beautiful expressions, you guys. Let's take one more deep breath in. Turn your gaze down and exhale, warrior two. Bend your front knees, step back softly. Okay. From warrior two, inhale, straighten your front leg. Turn your right toes in, and exhale, hinge and fold. So a nice transition through forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, pivot to lunge. Inhale, step plank. Exhale, lower or straight to dog. Inhale, opens your heart if you lowered. Exhale, downward facing dog. A few deep breaths, again, letting that settle. Feel the heat that we begin to build in our bodies. And it's actually warming us up for this final standing set. We'll mirror what we did on the right, on the left, and the left side always learns a little bit from the first side. So let's exhale all the breath from the lungs. Inhale your left leg, reach it back. Exhale, step left foot forward, and inhale, warrior one. So right heel spins down, toes about 2 or 3 o'clock this time, and arms sweep up to the sky. We'll take a moment just to find the initial shape, and then we'll activate it a little bit more. Bring your hands to your hips. You can even straighten the front leg a little bit to help define that turning forward. But hook your left thumb in your hip crease, pin it back, and this is inspiring the legs to find that scissoring squeeze. Grounded through the 4 corners of your back foot. Holding that, reach your right arm to the sky, and then draw your shoulder blade onto your back, that little hollowing of the armpit. Left hand's gonna come up to me, left arm rather, and then plug into your back foot super strong. Draw the low belly, knit the low ribs in, and then see if you can define a little bit more depth into the front knee. Knees right over the ankle eventually. Yes. Soft through the shoulders as we reach through the fingers. And every inhale is that sense of lengthening. The exhale is the sense of grounding. And again, this base that you're on, this foundation, is very important for where we go next. So deep breath to prep. Exhale, hands behind the back, opposite interlace if you remember. As you inhale, lift the heart, shoulders back. Exhale, humble warrior. Coming all the way down. You have the option to release the neck completely and look at your back foot if that feels okay in your neck. You can also just look more down inside edge of your left foot if that feels more accessible. Now finding that same patterning in the legs, strong and steady, the left hip drawing back this time, right hip drawing forward and down. Eventually your left shoulder might come inside of your left knee, but it's not a goal. It might be more on top of your thigh right now, and that's fine. Hands are coming up overhead in their interlace. Let's take one more deep breath. And then by way of low back, exhale, release your hands, skim the earth. Inhale, rise, warrior one. Good. Exhale, hands to your hips. Straighten your front leg. And again, you might shorten your stance a little bit. Toes are still turned forward about 2 or 3 o'clock. Take a moment to level your hips. Deep breath, lift your heart. And on an exhale, hinge at the hips and fold. And you can always soften the front knee. I didn't say that on the first side, just depending on the strength of your hamstrings. Hands come down to floor or your block. You can readjust with a little half lift again to find the length. Think of drawing sternum towards your toes. And then as you exhale and fold, option to release the head and neck as well. Really plug into the back foot. It's going to give you some of that steering capacity to keep drawing the left hip back and drawing low belly in, so we really protect the low back here. Think of pressing into fingers rather than leaning. Good. Exhale all the breath from your lungs. Inhale first a half lift to get your chest up, and then exhale hands to hips. Inhale, long spine brings you all the way to stand. Lift your left toes, turn them towards this inside wall. We set up for another horse stance. So widen your stance as needed, toes out, heels in. Inhale the arms overhead. Join your palms, exhale hands to heart, bend your knees. And we settle into the familiar shape, but this time we're going to take hands to thighs and draw them all the way to the inner knees, press them apart. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, dip your left shoulder gaze towards the back of the room. You can back out a touch on the inhale, gaining a little more length, and then exhale as you twist, press deeply through the left thigh. Inhale back to center, and exhale, dip the right shoulder. Pause for a moment, inhale backs you out just a touch, and then exhale, utilize that rotate a little bit deeper, pressing through the right thigh. Inhale, center. Let's do it one more time each side. Exhale, dip the left shoulder, turn towards the back of the room. Inhale, center. And exhale, dip the right towards the front of the room. Inhale, back to center. And then we'll come on up. Nice long spine, straighten the legs, arms to the sky. Bring your arms to a T. Lift your right toes, turn them towards the wall, left toes forward. Adjust the stance. Preparing for triangle with a deep breath, lift up through the left arm. And then exhale, hinge at the hips and reach, reach, reach until you cannot anymore. Then left hand finds shin or block. The right hip pins back and the right arm is reaching up towards the sky. And again, from the base up. Grounded strong as we're bringing that weight forward into the straight left leg. Again, that looks good, Alex, on this side, a softness in the knee. In this turning rotation, you want to keep your belly and low ribs knit in. Yeah, so as we turn, it's the full radius of the spine that's available. Yeah, beautiful. I'm pressing my hand a little bit, getting the shoulder back. And again, we want to think of almost leaning back in to get into this plane. Ankles, knees, hips, shoulders aligned. And that's going to give us the foundation for our peak pose. So building from here, take a deep breath. Exhale, right hand to your hip, gaze down. Bend your left knee, hand to floor or block, moving into half moon Ardha Chandrasana. Now, as soon as your right leg leaves the mat, press 4 corners of your foot into the earth as if you have something literally to press into, and that'll give you a little bit more stability. Right arm can start to reach to the sky, and use your left hand to literally turn you open like we've done in our other open hip poses, which will enhance the effect of being able to look up eventually with your gaze. Left leg is strong, but it's not rigid. On the inhales, we're taking up space, ceiling to floor, front to back of the room. Find your focus, find your breath. We'll take one more breath together. Release as warrior 2. Exhale, you can gaze down first, bend your front knee, step it back. Beautiful work, everybody. Inhale, straighten your left leg. Exhale, turn your toes in. Take a deep breath, lift the heart, and exhale, hinge and fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, pivot to lunge, facing the front. Inhale, plank. And your final connecting vinyasa, exhale, can lower or straight to dog. You can still skip it. Inhale, open the heart if you're flowing. Exhale, downward facing dog. A few deep breaths, let that energy settle. And now we're going to begin to bring the energy down and cool it off a little bit. So let's take an exhale together to prepare. And inhale your right leg back. Exhale, half pigeon pose. Bring your right knee towards the outer line of your right wrist and lay your shin across the mat at an angle that feels okay for your knee. You all have blocks, so you can also place a block underneath your right hip for a little more support as needed. Or if you're having issues in the knee, we can also come onto the back and take a supine figure 4. Use your fingertips to lift up through the heart. Draw your left hip forward. Kind of think of that warrior 1 pattern we were just in. Make a deep breath. And on the exhale, stay here or slowly begin to fold. You can walk the hands down. You can walk down to the forearms or maybe to the forehead, depending on where your hips are at today, and every day is a little bit different. Right foot has a little bit of action in it, mainly just to support, so there's not too much sickling in the ankle or discomfort in the knee. And the left leg straight behind you. A gentle nudging of the right hip back, but basically at this point we want to start to relax, feel our connection to the earth. Let it provide the stability and even the effort. So come back to your breath. And any tension you may feel in the outer hips here, you want to use the breath to soften and begin to release and even shift that pattern a little bit. And notice if the mind starts to wander, which is very normal as we come into a long hold and stillness. And see if you can use your breath to anchor your mind to stay present in your experience. See where you can breathe in to soften areas that need it. Just a couple more breaths. And then from here, as you're ready to transition, slowly walk your torso up first. Turn your left toes under. And inhale, 3-legged dog. Reach your right leg back. You can simply just reach it back to open up the hip there, or you can open the hip if you'd like, whatever feels good. You'll also be just stepping directly to down dog. Really listen to your body. And the meeting place will be in downward facing dog. Right, back in down dog, inhale, left leg reaches back. And exhale, half pigeon on this side. Left knee towards outer left wrist. Laying the shin across the mat again at a comfortable angle for your knee. You can still flip on the back if that doesn't feel good in the front knee, or utilize your block underneath your hip. Walk your hands back, inhale to lengthen your spine first. And then exhale, slowly journey down towards the mat, towards more of a sleeping pigeon if that's appropriate for you. And a little bit of action in the left foot. But mainly we're relaxing on as many levels as we can. Finding your breath. You can always come back to the deep inhales we found in the very beginning of class with a little pause at the top. And making sure the exhales come to full completion. A little pause, acknowledging the transition at the bottom of the breath as well. Maybe you get curious and notice how the breath affects sensation, where it feels heightened and where it feels more of a release. In these ways we can stay anchored into our physical form here, not letting the mind take us on a different plane outside of this room. Give yourself a couple more breaths. And slowly begin to walk your torso back up. You'll turn your right toes under and inhale to three-legged dog, left leg reaching back. And that might be all you do is find that simple reach. You might even just step to down dog again. This transition's about what feels good and natural to you. And meeting place is downward facing dog. From here, inhale, lift your heels. And on your exhale, come down to your knees. From there, you'll walk your knees to your hands and make your way onto a seat for Paschimottanasana, seated forward fold. Stretch your legs out in front of you. Take a moment, you might walk your hips back a little bit so you're on the more of the front line of the sitting bones. Bend your knees as needed. Feet, toes in one line, and inhale, arms overhead. Draw a low belly in on an exhale, hinge at the hips so belly comes towards the thighs. Reach to grab outer feet or big toes. As you inhale, think half lift almost, drawing the heart forward, sternum towards the toes, and then exhale, fold in. Now you're welcome to relax your head and neck. That will round your upper spine. So just be aware that you're still energetically inhaling that reach of the sternum towards the toes. And on the exhales, we're focusing on heavying the thighs towards the earth, engaging the quadriceps to support. Toes stay in one line, so active feet here, soft through the shoulders. Good. Let's here for one more deep breath, in and out. Good, nice, Alex. And then bottom of the exhale, release your grip. Inhale, slowly come up. Soften your knees, and exhale, roll onto your backs. As your shoulders touch down, bend your knees. We'll set up for bridge pose. You do have a block, so if you want to use that for a supported bridge, you can do so. I'm just going to grab the block. Separate your feet hip-width distance, and then draw your low belly in. As you exhale, feel low back touch the mat. From there, press into the feet. Inhale, lift your hips up towards the sky. Walk your shoulder blades underneath you once the hips are high enough, so you can create a little shelf with the shoulders. Palms can be up or clasping hands underneath you, whatever feels best. You're using your legs, pressing into the feet, using the strength of your legs to sustain the lift. So on the inhales, you may think of lifting up, and on the exhales, pressing into the feet, pressing into the shoulders even, and maybe even a little bit of press the back of the head to keep chin away from the chest. Just a couple more breaths, and even if you're in supported bridge on the block, make sure big toe mounds are grounded so the knees aren't winging out, but they're drawing in for support. Take one more deep breath here. If you have a clasp, release it. Exhale, snake upper, middle, sacrum to the mat. That's your back. Widen your feet to the edges of the mat. Knees drop in for constructive rest. Just a couple breaths here to allow the spine to decompress after a back bend. Good. Now toe heel your feet to touch, so knees drop wide. Supta Baddha Konasana, recline bound angle pose. Arms can be to the side, or you can bring hands to the body, maybe one to the belly, one to the heart, whatever feels intuitive and natural. Just taking a moment to allow the inner line of the legs to open. From here, take your hands to your outer knees, draw them together. And hug your knees in. From there, extend your left leg to the mat and hug your right knee around your low ribs towards your shoulder, preparing for a supine twist. We'll give a nice big squeeze, deep breath in, and then exhale, draw your knee across the body. You can lift your hips, bump your left hip underneath you. Right arm reaches out to the side, palm up, shoulder down. And if you want a little more support and you have that block handy, it can also come underneath your right knee. Note that your left hand is simply guiding your knee. It's not pushing or pressing. You're just supporting. Next, inhale, draw the knee back to center. Draw your left knee in to meet it. And then extend your right leg to the mat. Give the left knee a hug around the low ribs towards the shoulder. Take a deep breath. And exhale, supine twist towards your right. Guide your left knee across the body. Left arm reaching out. You can also cactus the arm if you don't have enough room there. Whatever feels good. Just keeping the shoulder grounded as best you can. Remember, the right hand is simply guiding. If it's on the knee, we don't want to pull or press it down, and you can use the block to support you as well. Gaze is up, left or right, whatever feels good in your body. Inhale your knee back to center. Guide your right knee in to meet it. And then we'll take happy baby pose. Bring your feet towards the sky. Grab your outer feet. You can grab ankles or shins if that's more accessible. You can also just simply pull knees to armpits if that feels better. Now create a little pressure, feet into hands. Hands pull back. That'll help you anchor your tailbone towards the mat. Shoulders as well, rounded down. You can stay still or you can rock side to side. Let's take one more deep breath here. Exhale, release your feet, draw your knees in, give yourself one final squeeze, and then the release is final Shavasana. Legs come down and separate. You can take up a lot of space or a little bit of space. Draw the shoulders underneath you to create a natural lift of the heart, and that will also open the palms in a receptive gesture. And that's exactly what we're here to do, is simply relax and receive all the benefits from your hard work and efforts in the class. And take a few mindful breaths just to stay connected to your body. Feel the support of the earth rising and literally meet you and hold you here, so you can find full surrender. And breathing even eventually takes a back seat. Just kind of bathing in the afterglow of your practice. Slowly begin to bring awareness back into your body, and this is simply by re-engaging the breath, noticing the breath. As you can tap into the rhythm of your breath, you begin to move a little bit through your fingers, your toes. Just waking up the body slowly. There we'll come into a full body stretch. When you're ready, reach the arms overhead, the legs out in front, reaching fingertips to toes. And draw your knees in towards your chest and you roll over to your right side in a little fetal position for a moment. When you feel ready to transition from there, begin to make your way to a comfortable seat. And closing your eyes once you reach that seat. Rounding down through the sitting bones, bring your hands to heart center in Anjali Mudra. The head bows slightly towards the hands in a gesture of gratitude. Thank yourself for showing up to do the work, to do the practice today. I certainly thank you for being here and sharing your energy and sharing community experience. Let's draw thumbs to third eye center. And exhaling, we bow forward to seal the practice. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. I'll be outside if you have any questions or want to chat.